Flame on! How's everybody doing tonight? And I'm here with my very special guest,
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
I was hoping you would go for that.
Okay, with all that being said, this is going to be a little different this week. We're covering New Direction Elseworlds, and
Yes.
something
Which, if
tells
you
me
guys
Jeff's
like
gonna have
this, we may continue doing Elseworld stories as well as our additional stories.
maybe. Hopefully, this does well. But okay. For those who are unofficiated, Dceased is a story where Darkseid tries to solve the anti-life equation, screws up, and then unleashes an anti-life plague on the universe.
Which is cool the way he does it because it spreads via technology. And I'm like, that is very Final Crisis of you, Tom Taylor.
A little on the nose, but gets the job done.
It works. Now, I got a question for you, Jheat. Now, are we adjusting Dceased for our canon? In other words, is it Elseworlds to our canon, or is Lois and Clark together in this storyline?
I was thinking more of a hybrid approach where, because you remember in Justice League Origin or Justice League War, if you're more familiar with the DCAMU, post-crisis Superman didn't actively get involved. He wanted this reality to reflect and grow for itself.
No, but I mean, in terms of like Superman and Wonder Woman's relationship, is that in
Oh,
other
okay,
words, are we adapting Deceased to the New Direction verse, or are we keeping
Yes.
it as it is? Good.
This is strictly Elseworld.
Good. Elseworlds of our thing, so the relationships are still there.
Yes, the actual Dceased review will be a separate video. This is strictly New Direction Elseworlds.
Okay, cool. Just wondering about that because a lot of my ideas branch off from our universe.
Okay. But maybe we can come to some common ground and create some hybrid ideas.
So, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so we start off where I guess it would be after God Killer 1. Let's play it safe and say this is after God Killer 1.
Yeah.
God Killer pretty much fights off Zeus, burns a good chunk of Metropolis, and Wonder Woman is in critical condition. The only difference between this and the original events of God Killer 1, Darkseid gets away with abducting Cyborg.
Yep, that works. Because it doesn't even change that much from the original DC storyline in that way.
Nope. You could just go from God. You could just deviate right from God Killer 1, and it's pretty straightforward.
There you go.
So we then get to how he has Dceased. They're torturing Cyborg. They're trying to solve the anti-life equation. And let's just say Darkseid screws up royally.
Yeah. Well, I believe the way the story works is that it only got crazy when he tried to combine the anti-life equation with the Black Racer, right?
It was a chain reaction of sorts, yes.
Yeah, so it's by the way, for those of you that don't know, the Black Racer is the embodiment of death in the multiverse. So that's why it kind of turned into a zombie thing. So and then Victor is teleported back, and then all hell breaks loose.
Because the moment he gets back to Earth, he connects to the internet, and holy shit.
Yeah, it doesn't go that well. Who dies first?
Oh, this is where it gets fun. Okay, hold on. All right, let me because I want to keep the original horror of this aspect because people get affected left and right. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, just wanted to make sure because people are getting infected left and right. So I want to say one of the first casualties is I want to say Artemis. Because think about it, Wally's trying to move on. He's still presenting Barry, but all hell breaks loose, and Artemis is one of the first heroes to be infected.
Oh boy, that's gonna be interesting. And she attacks Wally, and Wally's like holding her there.
And then he tries to phase to make sure she doesn't infect him, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Boom, as in he's infected?
No, boom as in Artemis explodes.
Why does she explode?
Because he's trying to change the density of his molecules. And
okay, yeah. That would actually happen with the Flash. So yeah, that works. And then he obviously while he's like catatonic and frozen, and then Barry shows up and is like, he sees Wally with like covered in Artemis's guts, so he thinks, is this pre-Heroes in Crisis or post?
Pre-Heroes in Crisis. This is still
Pre-Heroes in
Godkiller 1.
Crisis. Okay, so he's like, Wally, what did you do? And Wally goes, it wasn't me. She just attacked me.
That doesn't mean you phase and cause her to implode. Like, there was a better way you could have handled it.
I was trying to put her in a wall.
Look, people are going crazy all across the world. We got to run recon and see what's going on. We can discuss this on the way.
Yeah. So they run, and then again, they see like the entire world is like turning into basically World War Z. Everyone, a lot of they see like the rogues are tearing each other apart, so we can get rid of those guys. Do we kill off the birds of prey as well?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, the birds of prey, the Jokers killed. As they pass by Harley goes, "Hi, boys. Ain't it great outside?"
Actually, I want to make a change here because you can still have Joker get infected, but I actually want Red Hood to get the kill.
Okay, I'm fine with that. And then he's like, I've been waiting forever for that.
The only sad part is I didn't even get to enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even get to break out my crowbar. And then, okay, so they finish their scouting run, and then this is around the time in Deceased when they're told to rally up at the Daily Planet, and they're up there. And the current hero roster is Superman, Wonder Woman, I would say Hippolyta. Hippolyta's a kid right now, right?
Yes. This is like, again, Godkiller 1. I don't even think she left for the Green Lantern Corps yet.
Yeah, I was about to say, so that's pre-Green Lantern. So Green Canary, yes, we're keeping that. And Green Arrow, and we kind of have to use it, Lois Lane.
She does play a role.
You have no idea how hard it was for me to say that, Jheat. Like, wow.
Hopefully this will make you feel better.
Oh, I got plans.
Let me try.
Okay.
Wonderbot.
Now that is scary.
Yeah, that is. Thank you. That's my Halloween fright. But anyway, where? Oh yeah, so then they rally with the heroes, and Wally's first question is, "What the hell is going on?"
Apparently, Cyborg was captured during Clark and Diana's little lover spat. And then Scion interjects, "Hey, he was going on a warpath, pretty much fighting across the atmosphere. What was I supposed to do? For one, keep your doppelganger in check. Darkseid was obviously up to something."
Okay.
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, how would Batman and post-crisis Superman interact? Because I know this is New 52 Batman. So
are we keeping that Batman's dead at this point?
Might as well. But man, this is New 52 Batman too.
Oh yeah, it is. It is that.
Ooh.
Do we really want to still kill him?
Better safe than sorry, because the Justice League being infected and or killed is one of the core impacts of Dceased as a story.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, but it's still Damian saying that. He's like, these two's everyone was distracted by Superman and Wonder Woman's lover spacks. I got to be honest, that sounds exactly what Damian Wayne would say in this situation. So
especially New 52, where he's still technically 10.
Yeah, well, he's still an a-hole. I'll take that. And he goes, "Hey, you're 12 years old. Show some respect."
Showing respect is focusing on the task at hand and keeping in your pants. That's respect. And you got to admit, the little shit kind of has a point.
Shut up, Green Arrow. And so it was at this point that they go to take out the entire internet, because I believe at this point they did that in the story. We're not at the Captain Adam nuking part yet, I don't think.
No, we're not there yet. That is way later on. I think that's like issue 4 of the original comic, I want to say.
Yeah, around there. So they completely take out the internet, so no one else is going to be infected yet.
So now you have most of the Bat family infected and or dead. Bruce is on the verge of being infected. He probably has a few more. Because again, this is Damian when he's 10. Like he's not, because even in Dceased, Damian is roughly 13.
Mm-hmm.
So even if we're factoring New 52, New Direction where he kicks off proper, and God Killer 1, Damian is still roughly the same age he would have been in Dceased, if not a couple months younger.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you could make it work, but still, a young Damian as Batman, even when I read the original comic, like, okay, someone's really trying to fill the void after John Kent got aged up. Like, seriously.
Even Hope at World's End, they have him in the tiny bat suit.
I mean, I get it. Dead Planet definitely made up for it with the time skip, but still.
And by the way, Dead Planet has the only valid version of Wonder Bat.
Hey, a point's a point.
It's not Clark. It's not Clark. As long as it's not Bruce and Diana, it works.
Hey, man, I don't really care for shipping, so I ain't got no problem with it.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, so then, let's see. I'm going through the plot of the original comic in my head. So they wipe out the internet. Then Clark goes to, Clark and Diana go to Metropolis Smallville to check on Martha and John Kent. So that stays pretty much the same.
Wait, wasn't Mom and Pa Kent killed off in Clark's
prom? I was about to say this is technically New 52 Deceased, so they're not there. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. And by the way, fun fact: Kara's not here. Wait, are we keeping the War of the Undead Gods Kara origin, because Super Doom would have already happened and Kara's here?
Just swap her out with Matrix or Convergence Kara.
A new direction for Matrix Supergirl. Oh boy. Now that's a clickbaity as hell title. And we'll have them, they call her Matrix. So Clark goes to the Clark and Diana go to the fortress to check on Matrix, and then they find that she's infected.
Yeah.
Because remember, Fortress had like a lot of screens, so they're attacked. And okay, who do you think should be safe?
Definitely post-crisis Superman, post-crisis Lois, John, and Hippolyta. If there were any real if there was anyone really going to be infected to raise the stakes, I would have to decide between, in the scene, Scion, Aquaman, or Connor Kent, because technically he's in New Direction Young Justice.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do this. All right. She scratches Scion.
Okay.
And he can tell he's going to be changed. And then he makes Diana run him through with her sword.
But with no kryptonite on hand. So how does that work? Like,
Magic sword.
Magic sword, New 52. Right.
Still works. So Scion is dead. And this and the Batman thing immediately established that, yeah, no one's safe in this universe.
Nope.
And Diana, as Diana is flying back, she like flies through a bunch of normal deceased humans to take out her frustration after losing Scion. And just it's kind of like when Alfred was flying the Batwing to Metropolis, and he was just dropping bombs on Gotham.
If only those infected humans could wield Mjolnir. Oh, come on. That was a God Killer 2.
Well, that's a terrifying thought.
No, that was a God Killer 2 joke, but I'll explain it off panel.
Yeah, so she gets back alone, and everyone immediately knows what that's talking about with when she says, what happened to Scion? He goes, and she goes, he didn't make it.
I mean, that's not okay. And to clarify, there are two. In New Direction, there are two Supergirls technically, just like with two.
Wait! Two Supergirls?
Because one of them ends up getting corrupted by Darkseid in a tie-in to God Killer 2. Remember?
I thought you were trying to explain to people that there were two Supermen.
There are, but you still have to take into the fact that New Direction splinters off from Convergence, where we had Matrix Supergirl splinter off. Yep. There you go.
True. So, yeah, we have to deal with that. Is she sleeping with Lex Luthor? Of course. Are we keeping the Australian clone of Lex Luthor? Yep.
Now that's my Halloween fright. You got me. That's my Halloween
I got
fright.
you. There you go. Yeah. So now do we do the whole nuclear bomb thing?
It's about that time because Aquaman is infected. Cyborg is barely even coherent. Right? It can't speak outside of code. How would Wonder Woman feel?
Actually, Cyborg could speak because remember he regrew a tongue.
Oh yeah, but would Wonder Woman be infected in all this?
Maybe later. I'm still debating on if we should do that. Let me put it this way: she's not safe, so we could do it.
Okay.
Oh, I know what world. I have an idea on what to do, and I'll key you into it when we get to that part of the story.
Okay. So Captain Adam gets infected. He goes off.
The lanterns protect everyone, and the Metropolis is basically a huge crater, kind of like Flashpoint Metropolis was.
Pretty much.
And so they all decide, okay, let's go to. Okay, so where would they go that would be safer? Would that be the fortress?
Pretty much, because it's isolated from regular normal society.
And to be clear, they have dealt with Lex Luthor's girlfriend, the Matrix Supergirl. So she's done. So she's dead. And yes, that's for you, Jheat. So everyone just goes to the fortress to try and plan out what they want to do. But then when they're on the computers, they realize this thing is growing too fast. We're gonna have to evacuate the Earth.
And then Talia al Ghul shows up as a nod to Hope at World's End. Like, you do realize you could just kill these people, right? Like, they obviously can't be killed. And then we get the Talia and Lois standoff, but Lois wouldn't have much of a backbone to stand on. New 52, Lois is kind of in the corner, like, what am I doing here? Why am I even here?
You mean the way Lois should always be? Why am I even here? Thank you, Jheat. I really appreciate that. But no, you get the standoff, except it's with Wonder Woman.
Okay, Talia versus Wonder Woman. That would be an interesting matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Like, seriously, I know Wonder Woman would win, but Talia would put up one hell of a fight. I got to give her that.
Yeah. So, so essentially, at that point, that's when Martian Manhunter gets taken over, and then we have where the post-crisis Clark sacrifice. Can I kill post-crisis Clark?
Either it's going to be him or post-crisis Connor Kent. It's going to be one or the other.
Okay, so what we do is post-crisis sacrifices himself by doing the injustice, burning Martian Manhunter thing. Hey, what's up, Tavia?
What's up?
And so he like completely disintegrates Martian Manhunter, but he's infected. We do the whole goodbye to John Kent thing, and he flies off. And actually, we can make it where what I would do is have someone kill him, because that way you don't have to deal with have God Killer kill him.
I did what needed to be done.
And then we could have I'm trying to think of
maybe a God Killer tie-in because again, God Killer is technically a demigod, so he probably wouldn't be infected.
Well, Wonder Woman could get infected, and she's a demigod.
No, just okay. Just let me cook on this. Let me cook.
Okay.
They try to infect him, but they know they can't. Because when you've been fighting multiple mythologies, endured 100,000 hells, how can the anti-life break someone like God Killer, someone that strong-willed, someone that vengeful?
Mm-hmm.
You could argue God Killer would succumb at some point, but it wouldn't be easily. I'm not going to say he's fully immune to it, more like he has a stronger resistance or tolerance to it.
Mm-hmm. So I think at this point, here's where I'm going to deviate from the story because I just got a fantastic idea. So
Go ahead.
A lot of the deceased superheroes show up and they're like attacking the fortress. It's a fortress siege, and then it's a massive battle, like legit, like Helm's Deep type of battle. Wonder Woman is at the front lines, but she gets scratched. Now, off of that, the thing about it is because of her divine blood with Zeus, she is partially immune. What I mean by that, it's one of those things where it's fine to take over, but the like divine blood keeps it at bay.
Much like God Killer, where they just have a resistance to it. It won't
exactly. Except with hers, it's a much weaker resistance. Like she's gonna change, but it's taking slower.
Okay.
And this is kind of establishing a sort of a timetable that if you want Wonder Woman to survive, you need to find a cure real fast.
And I don't think they find one this early in the story.
No, they don't. And because it's at the end of this one that Cyborg says, "Hey, there's a cure and it's inside of me." And okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I kind of found that a bit contrived. Like, I get it, the whole concept of a life equation and how, because Cyborg's infused with Father Box technology, he could kind of piece it together by, integrating with his programming. But that's not something you reveal on the 11th hour. You at least build that up. I just felt like Tomasi could have built that up a bit more.
We're gonna do. I got a better thing. All right, I'm gonna take outside of the story right now. What if we use a White Lantern ring?
It could work.
Because instead of using like the life equation, because I'm like, yeah, that is 100% contrived. What's the next life thing that brings people back from the dead? Thank you, Jeff Johns. But
go ahead.
So we're going to use a White Lantern ring. Now, who is going to be the White Lantern?
That we will reveal in a later section. But quick disclaimer.
I know who I think it should be. I'm going to surprise Jheat.
Okay. But quick disclaimer. I feel like the reason they didn't use the White Lantern was because they know they've already done a DC zombie story before, and they wanted to deviate from Blackest Night as much as possible.
Well, plus it was using a lot of the New Gods lore, so they kind of figured, okay, let's just stick with New God stuff. But yes, it was very contrived that way. So here's all right. So the battle happens. It's like so the battle is over. Wonder Woman knows she can't leave Earth because she would be bringing the virus with her. So they go to Themyscira, and this is where you have the battle against Aquaman and the Kraken. We get the same Green Arrow thing where Green Arrow shoots him and goes, "F you, Batman. I'm not a threat. I just killed a god." So before they board the ship, Wonder Woman is like collapsing on the ground. She's convulsing. She's basically turning into a zombie and basically says, "Go, run away." And all of a sudden, a white light descends from the sky. The White Lantern ring lands on Wonder Woman's hand, curing her.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Maybe not yet, because
not yet.
I want to do the Earth 2 part. So they leave and she's infected, and we get the whole Cyborg thing saying there's a cure. He's not going to say it's inside of me. We're abandoning that part of the Dceased storyline. He's just going to say there is a cure, and I know what it is. Donna Troy is on the escape ship, Tevia. So that's the end of Volume 1.
Okay.
Now, I vote that we, for right now, skip the tie-ins and go straight to Dead Earth.
Dead Planet, but okay.
Yeah, essentially. So 5 years have
5 years have passed.
Yeah, go ahead, Jheat.
So we have Damian Wayne as Batman.
Mhm.
Oh, who would it be? Connor stepping up, or would it be? I think it would be too young for John to step up.
Hippolyta.
So Damian
Woman.
is Batman, Hippolyta is Supergirl, and
And
Don-
you could keep
Donna.
Cassie as Wonder Woman.
Yeah, but Cassie. Well, it is an Elseworld story, so.
Yeah,
Why age?
that's the way it was in the regular story.
It's really hard to explain. Like we're already aging down Cassie, and
Just have Donna. Just have Donna if it makes it easier.
okay. Because if I go down that rabbit hole, I'm going to give myself a headache.
Yeah, there you go. So 5 years later, we get the whole battle, and then there's a cure. Not right now. I'm trying to minimize the super people because honestly, that's my problem with current DC. There's too many super people.
You got Steel, you got John Henry Irons, you got Connor, you got Aged Up John, you got the Super Twins, you got Kara.
Honestly, the super family should just be Clark, Kara, and Steel. That's it. What about the Bat family? We're keeping all of the deaths from the Bat family.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, just keep it as simple as possible so we don't have to deal with 8,000 characters. This is the problem when everyone has a family.
Or an ensemble team that makes no sense.
Aged Up John shouldn't even exist. Well, at this point, it's 5 years later, so it would be a more natural up, but still. So then we get to so they head back to Earth, and they don't necessarily know it's a lantern ring yet. They know there's a cure, and Cyborg doesn't know yet either. No, Flash does not make sense either because it's like, why does anyone try anything in Central City? Should be just it. Honestly, there should be just one Flash, Barry. That's it, or Wally. Pick one, go with it.
Okay, so have we actually confirmed which Flash gets infected in the first Dceased, or?
I thought it was Barry who got infected in the first one. Yeah.
And Wally ended up crossing over to another Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the original comic. So
that's what we're doing.
Okay. So I guess Wallace gets to step up to the plate right after he gets his powers. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. True. But in the season, it makes sense to me. Yeah. But we're not. John Kent is not going to play as big of a role in this universe in our Deceased because Hippolyta is essentially doing the role that John Kent would have. Because remember, at this point, and Jheat and I agree with this at the beginning of the video, we're changing the universe, the Deceased universe, to fit the new. It's an Elseworlds to the new Direction universe.
Pretty much.
Yeah, essentially.
So you would have Cassie Sandsmart Wonder Woman.
No. I thought we said Donna.
Okay, Donna Troy. Okay, we're making Donna Troy Wonder Woman. Okay, Donna Troy Wonder Woman, Damian Wayne Batman, and Hippolyta Kent Supergirl. Because
Superwoman.
I mean,
because she's older, so I'm like, why are we still calling it? That's the problem with Kara. She's an adult woman, and we're still calling her Supergirl.
I mean, the name kind of sticks. There's no real point for her to rebrand. Karen Starr, Power Girl, had to rebrand, but
arguably that made even less sense. But that's besides the point. But essentially, they go back to Earth. It's the same team. Now, okay. Do we keep the whole thing with Wonder Woman getting killed in this sequence?
Oh,
because the plot that I had planned was she becomes a White Lantern.
Okay,
because then we could have the phrase like, if we had just waited longer, I could have saved Scion.
Okay, all right. So, all right. Here's how we'll do it. Hippolyta reunites with her mom for the first time in 5 years. So she kind of pulls a Black Canary, where they kind of like wrap Diana in a containment field of some kind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because they actually want to analyze what the cure is.
Mm-hmm.
but Poison Ivy isn't having it. If you take these two in here, you're going to have to take them somewhere else. You'll be left to fend for yourself. Poison Ivy is not having it.
Mm-hmm.
And this version of Poison Ivy was actually forgiven because she didn't coerce Batman to unalive the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least Dceased kicked off before it got to that point. But that's neither here or there.
Yeah, and Tevia, we're ignoring those tie-ins right now. We're just dealing with the main 3 books.
For the sake of simplicity, let's just say those tie-ins happened relatively the same way. For the sake of simplicity.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Plus, I find no reason to change those because they were all equally fun. The only difference is that John Kent in Hope at World's End is replaced with Hippolyta.
You could still have John. He's just going to take a relative back seat compared to Hippolyta.
Yeah, because remember, essentially, yeah, exactly that. So they discuss. So they repair Cyborg, and Cyborg is like, the cure is linked to the lantern rings, and then Canary's like, wait, what do you mean? He goes, there's another lantern core that could undo all of this.
But the raw power is basically an amalgamation of the entire emotional spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
So you mean we have to rally the other lantern cores, get them to work together, and attempt to save the universe, forge some kind of super ring? I wouldn't have called it that, but basically.
Yeah, and then essentially, John Stewart's was never. Oh yeah, he wasn't good because he died in the last volume. So John Stewart goes, okay,
yep.
We're gonna go rally the other. We're gonna go rally Atrocitus and the Zamoronians. And yes, Sinestro hasn't been killed yet because we're still in book 2 of the universe.
Sinestro plays a role in the 3rd book, if you don't already know.
Yeah, he dies in the 3rd book, and his ring becomes Yellow Lantern Darkseid, which is freaking incredible. So then, so the lanterns rally up. At the same time, this is where we get like the plot of the second thing stays relatively the same because there's no reason to like change a lot of this because first off, it's a great story, and so we get the whole Amazo fight, except at the last and Trigon, except at the last second, all of the lanterns show up and help, and like to take out all of the Amazo androids.
I feel like
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I had to cut you off. I feel like Trigon wouldn't be as mad because you still have Godkiller kind of like trimming the fat or purging in the chaos because he doesn't really have a relation with the hero, so he was kind of left behind for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And then after Atreus gets infected, because I actually am pitching Atreus gets infected.
I like that.
Godkiller just goes off the deep end, like he's unaliving everybody, like he does not care.
I like that. I like that. So lanterns show up, and the Guardians. Look, let's say Ganthet. He says there are two other lantern cores that we never told you about. One is harnesses the power of death, and that's the Black Lantern rings. Then there's the White Lantern rings of life, but they can only be wielded by those that are the purest of heart. I'm adding that part in there, so it's not like everyone gets a White Lantern, because what I was thinking, there's only one White Lantern. We don't pull a Blackest Night where everyone gets a White Lantern ring.
I feel like they only did that for those they knew their editorial was going to let them bring back. But
it's like even before that. But I'm like, okay, Superman gets a White Lantern ring. Don Troy gets one. I'm like, no, just one. That's overpowered enough. Just one. And then they go, okay, so where do we find a White Lantern ring? And that's a good question. How do we get a White Lantern ring to Earth?
You truly are fools. If you have no experience of the cosmos, why do you think the Guardians kept such a close-veiled secret for centuries? Every lantern has an entity, and this one in particular has been right under your nose. That's why the equation didn't want you to find it, and took Earth as a homestead instead of purging the galaxy the first chance it got.
Because we're keeping that. I like that. That works.
So what? We find the entity of life is somewhere on Earth? Dormant. But yes.
So we basically have an Indiana Jones-like story of them traveling to all these different sites, and we see like inscriptions of the White Lantern entity. And let's say, I'm trying to think, where would they find the entity? Where'd be a cool, like, meta as hell place to put it?
Gaia or the Bermuda Triangle, maybe even Greece. Like
Maybe even Themyscira. Like, under the Themyscira. Like, that's what the Amazons... Because you know how, like, the Amazons are supposed to guard the gates to Tartarus?
And the Well of Souls, like, but I get
and the
your
Will
point.
of Souls. No, in this universe, they're guarding the pathway to the White
Entity of
Lantern
life.
entity. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So they go to Themyscira. They still have like Wonder Woman struggling. So they have like 80 lanterns, all with like constructs wrapped around her. So because it's Wonder Woman, she still has Wonder Woman strength. So what? So they open the gate, and then they realize, okay, you need to sacrifice one of the dead in order to unlock the ring.
And John suggests God Killer because he killed his dad.
One of the dead. They brought a dead person. 1D.
Oh. But I feel like John would. Hippolyta refuses. What if it accidentally? A life for a life.
That's the way this works. Diana would want this. One life to save everyone. And this is where you get the whole Black Canary kills Wonder Woman. And then the lantern, and then all of a sudden there's like a blinding white light rises out of this, like, let's say casket or something like that.
Ether, basically.
A container or some type of thing. This white ball rises out of the ether. It lands and goes, Diana Kent, rise. And then she emerges, and she's basically in like a white version of her Superman, of her new 52 suit, except she also has a cape, because I like Wonder Woman with a cape. And then she like emerges, and she's like finally loosened. She has a reunion with her daughter. And okay, so then we get to War of the Undead Gods, because now we're bringing back a dark side and all that stuff. Now, how much of War of the Undead Gods are we keeping intact?
Just about most of it, because again, it's a war of the gods, of the new gods. You have Trigon, you have the Titan, and I think God Killer will play into this role because, again, it's one of the Titans. So, Erebus.
Mm-hmm.
And God Killer reunites with Ares.
Oh, he and Ares are mean mugging each other the entire time. They're like, Yes, there you go. So the story goes relatively the same, except Diana is the one who sacrifices herself to take out Erebus because she has the White Lantern Ring of Life.
Pretty much.
Now, and then she is dead, and then on Themyscira, or like it's not the Hall of Justice, they have a statue of her and Scion. Now, in the battle as well, I vote Post-Crisis and John both go out heroically. They're gone.
Okay.
Lois Lane is equally useless. She's killed by like falling debris. And,
come on, at least give her a standing ovation. The hell bat armor.
She's not Superwoman at this point.
That is true. That is true.
So what am I gonna do? She's just there. What are you gonna do? That's my problem with Lois in Dceased. She's just there. Then all of a sudden she's president of Earth. I'm like, what are your qualifications?
We're building a new society. We need a de facto leader, and Lois embodies the spirit of truth and reporting.
No, she doesn't. There are people that have way more experience running a nation / you can have Mara be president of Earth because she's actually royalty. Unlike Lois, who has all this stuff she has everything given to her. That's my lowest rant. That's my lowest rant. So in the aftermath, the one thing I'm gonna do, I'm not using the White Lantern ring to bring everyone back. Everyone stays dead.
Really? Okay.
I mean, because that's an option. Allow me to discuss with you, because we could have them bring her and Scion back.
We could.
Now, because granted, the only reason why they didn't do that in the actual book is because it wasn't a White Lantern ring. It was the life equation. So we could just do this.
Yeah. But it would kind of make the story null and void. Like the only.
That's why I'm saying don't do it. Just keep it there, and then we have like Hippolyta having to deal with a world where she is the daughter of two superheroes that gave their lives and stuff.
How about only brings back those who were actually died while infected, and how
so Scion it brings Scion back,
but not Wonder Woman. So we kind of get like a king. So we get like a Kingdom Come Scion who lost the love of his life, but still has to. But his daughter's there to pick up the pieces.
That works. I'm good with that. He makes. You know how he has statues of of Jor-El and Lara in the fortress? He makes one for Diana
and John, yep.
Mm-hmm. And there you go. That wraps up the super family. Now, the thing is, we can have it where the Quintessence takes Darkseid before them and tries him because of Darkseid, this happened. So they're like, you're no longer the Lord of Apocalypse. We are putting you in like essentially. What could hold Darkseid?
The source wall.
That's the thing. Yeah, you were permanently confined to the source wall. For crimes against all of existence, you're done. And like Lex Luthor actually becomes a good guy because he's like, hey, I died, I became a zombie, but then I was given a second chance. I'm thinking of getting into politics. Teasing the President Lex. And then we could say where Hippolyta sheds the Superwoman identity because we have Kara now, and she becomes the new Wonder Woman as a tribute to her mother.
Yeah, I can see that. Damian is still Batman, reeling from everything he lost.
Yeah, because if we do it this way, Damian didn't die.
Yeah, he actually survived.
Mm-hmm.
But would Cassie be by his side, or how are we tackling this?
You could take it since the only valid Wonder Bat.
I'll leave that for the comments to decide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can go with that. And then there's a big memorial for everyone that's lost. And you can call it A Day as a big FU to Marvel. Anti-Life Day, essentially.
I see what you did there.
Suck it, Marvel.
Oh. I was actually planning on making a video about this, but there's rumors going around, and take this with a grain of salt, people, that they're actually having Scott Snyder make an Ultimate DC universe.
That would be awesome. Oh, one more thing I want to add. Erebus unleashes, during the battle, an anti-life doomsday.
Yeah.
Instead of the army sweeping throughout the universe, he just drops doomsday on these planets.
Yep. And who takes...
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
A free-for-all or a battle royale between Anti-Life Doomsday, God Killer, and Lobo.
No, and Hippolyta.
I could see that.
Yeah, but it's not like the death of Superman and that everyone that shows up is actually is actually the A-listers and not D-listers. But yeah, that would be cool. Like Lobo hooks Doomsday and just drags him behind the motorcycle. That works. I like that.
Having a spirit of vengeance, aren't we, Jared?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And then, I like that. As for the Ultimate DC Universe, now, If that is actually true, though, that's a great idea.
1,
That's a
you're welcome. 2, we did it first. And 3, Iris DC.
If he bases it on the new 52 Jheat, we ought to post on Twitter. This is the third time you've stolen our ideas. First Tom King and now Scott Snyder. Screw you, DC.
If I had a nickel for every time, but I'd have 2 nickels. But it's weird that it happened twice.
In a row, too. Jeez. But yeah, it's a fantastic idea, partly because we came up with it, but partly because that way you can ignore, if you want to, you can ignore all the convoluted crap and stick to a more straightforward DC universe.
You could. Which is arguably what the new 52 should have been, but they didn't want to outright rip off Marvel. But
well, it's because because also, according to DC, the new 52 was the worst thing that ever happened to DC, even though it saved the company.
It did boost sales. It was a commercial success. Say what you will about fan expectation, but it did what it was supposed to do. It just wasn't fully planned. It's like the sequel trilogy in a way, but it actually has a positive effect.
Mm-hmm.
So take that what you will.
Exactly. So, all right. So let's see. So in retrospective, Jheat, what did you think of our version of Dceased?
Well, I thought it was pretty solid because, again, Damien gets like the Bat family back because, again, most of the Bat family died via infection, with the exception
of Bruce is a lot. Oh, actually, wait, because Bruce got shot.
Yeah, but he was infected prior.
Oh yeah, so Bruce is back to life now.
So is Nightwing. So the only ones who have to stay dead are Stephanie and Jason, which are arguably the worst Robins in the Bat family. God, this was more morbid.
Yeah, exactly. So they stay dead, and then can you imagine Bruce Wayne has to have another funeral for Jason Todd?
Pretty much.
And then Unkillables happens the exact same way. Hope at World's End happens practically the exact same way, so we don't have to worry about that.
The only difference is John is a little more emo because he's kind of in the back seat and he kind of resents Godkiller for killing his dad. So other than that, it's essentially the same.
Mm-hmm. And so okay. I guess that's the story, which I enjoyed coming up with. Honestly, this all came up with an idea. I was reading Deceased, and I was like, why didn't they ever do a Deceased Doomsday? Because the thing about this way, Jheat, they could have Doomsday show up right as the infection first gets launched, and he gets mauled.
I guess the writer didn't want to be too gravitas about it. He actually wanted to have a slow build throughout the first volume.
Or they could have brought him in at they could have brought him in at Hope and World, and War of the Undead Gods, or Dead Planet. They could have. I'll give you that. They could have brought him in. A lot of the New Direction universe, it seems, is just ideas that DC was too lazy to do.
Indeed.
Overworld's End. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, Stephanie Brown is presumably killed off and never referenced again. Like Talia offers to take Stephanie to the Lazarus Pit, and we get no follow-up. Almost as like those two were completely abandoned.
DC always abandoned Stephanie, so it's not really a surprise.
I mean, I'm not surprised by it, but still, at least maintain some consistency.
Yeah, exactly.
But with that being said, Jared, any final thoughts?
We got a better version of this season. You notice we kept most of it intact, just a few things we had to tweak. But yeah, it was a fun stream.
Yeah, definitely, man. Anytime. And before we leave, no, I'm not going to do it.
Thank you.
Well, Super.
Okay, where's the leave studio button?
Let me try.
Okay.
Wonderbot.
It's Halloween, buddy. I had to.
Ah! That's my screaming right there.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Good night, everybody. Whoa!